if you didn't join the bootcamp, do you think you would have been able to like build things that you are building now at the same speed, at the same level of understanding?
If I didn't have the boot camp, I could build stuff, but I could definitely not build as fast and as in depth and with the same level of understanding. There's no way. Like
Mhm.
it's just not possible. We're here. I'm telling you, every week I feel comfortable. If I have an idea on Saturday, on Friday, on Saturday and Sunday, I can build it. On Monday, I have the MVP ready.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. That's like a superpower. Like you can't do anything.
It really does. It really does feel like that. So that's like really exciting for me. Just to feel like I feel very confident there. The boot camp was great. I definitely enjoyed it. I didn't know what to expect. I thought it would be a lot more theory, which I'm glad it wasn't. And one of the things you did mention was that we're going to focus on building. So I wasn't really sure if we're really going to be focusing on building or not, but we were. So that was really dope. And it was fast paced, which was good. I actually think I would have been happy if it went 8 weeks because I was actually starting to get into the groove of things to build continuously. But I will say it definitely enabled me to like just build stuff. Um,
Interesting.
I think I've built like 5 or 6 MVPs of different apps so
Oh,
far, and still building now. So that's
that's
kind of been fun. A friend of mine told me like, "Why are you building so many things?" And I said, "Well, every time I build, I get better."
mm,
And so
mm.
one of my goals is to keep building. And I have a lot of ideas, so keep building, keep improving like my structure, the prompting, the tools that I use, etc. So I get faster and faster as I build. And I've been using quite a bit of the tools that you all have discussed. Like Vectorize is one of the tools that I've been using quite a bit. I've been chatting with the Vectorize team and some of the implementation. I'm using other tools. I've used obviously V0 quite a bit, so I've like deployed some stuff and feel pretty comfortable with that. So it's been nice, like getting comfortable with a lot of the tools, applications, and also I feel like I'm not an expert, but I feel like I'm pretty much almost an expert at Claude Code now. And now I'm using Sub Agent, so that's been like 10xing my development. So definitely was a worthwhile investment for me on the bootcamp.
That's amazing to hear. So I had some follow-up questions. So tell me, let's step back before you joined the bootcamp. I was curious actually, what was your main goal for the bootcamp? I know a few people want to start a business or get a job, or what were your goals just starting?
I had a couple different goals. I think long term, I do want to have my own startup. That's definitely like my ultimate goal. And I think the steps towards that, I was hoping this boot camp would help me at least get the steps to move towards that milestone, if not
Mm,
achieve it. One was get familiar with like being able to build something and feel comfortable that I can actually build an application to deploy. That was like kind of the first step of this boot camp. And then the second one is I did would wanted to pursue getting a job, so having the skills to feel comfortable to get a job as a progression to eventually have my own business.
And now that you've gone through the bootcamp, how close you think you've gotten to those goals and which ones?
Oh, like building the product, I feel like I'm extremely close. Like I said, I feel like I have at least 2 to 3 MVPs already.
Mhm.
I have people test. And I'm kind of just testing them myself and then actually building them out to be more polished than MVP. So probably that 3 times over. I actually was with some software engineers over the past weekend, like 5 of them, and I
Mhm.
was teaching them things about developing AI agents and developing software with AI and using AI frameworks and using MCPs and using sub agents. And I was realizing to myself, like, I actually learned a lot from this bootcamp that accelerated me beyond the level that I thought that I was at. Right. So to be able to teach your software engineer friends who've been software engineers for 5, 7, 8 years, not teaching them like they didn't know, but like enlightening them in things that I've learned was kind of like eye opening to me.
Wow. What did they have to say about your understanding of the field?
I think they were shocked. So I think at first they looked at me and they just kind of like stared because one of the guys he hadn't used Claude Code much, and so I
Mhm.
was telling him like, "Oh yeah, I use it all the time." And he was like, "Well, why do you use it?" He didn't know that I was doing a boot camp, right? And so I'm developing applications. Well, like, how much time are you spending like learning code and teaching yourself before you develop stuff? And I'm like, no, I'm like putting together structure and mainly being an orchestrator and learning the code as I go along. But I know what looks right. I'm doing testing and etc. He's like, oh, you're using using Git pull requests and you're adding?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh, you're doing all that?" So they were like really shocked, and they're like, "Oh, you use the MCP too?" And so they were just surprised. And they're like, "Well, how long does it take you to develop an app?" And I was like, like honestly, I'm trying to develop one every week. That's like my target. And they were like, "You can do that?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "They actually do work, right?" So it was nice conversations to have, but I also felt good to be able to like help other people too, or at least give them knowledge as well.
That's so cool.
It
That's
is. It is pretty cool. Like I said, that conversation or those 5 conversations did make me realize just that, right? Like, oh wow, I kind of am an early adopter. And I was telling my friends, you don't think that because you're in it. So I was with all of you for 6 weeks, right? You feel like in the boot camp you're trying to catch up. That's why you're in the boot camp to accelerate, right? But then you realize, oh, I'm not catching up. I was just accelerating faster than everyone else, like not in the boot camp or not in the space.
100%. I'm glad that you felt that it was like accelerated. And do you think the content and the pace you were still able to catch up, right?
Yeah. So I would say the video or the guest speakers that came were great because I like how they, especially Chris from Vectorize, the way he put together the presentations. And he went through kind of like each individual feature or way you could benefit. It's kind of geared towards Vectorize, right? But each of the 10 features, I believe he said, like how you can improve your vector pipeline and your vector database. It was very like succinct and very easy to understand.
Mhm.
So that was like very clear to me to say, oh, like I can visualize how I can utilize pieces of this, not just with Vectorize, but in that everyday thinking in terms of building out a vector database. Sorry, the guest speakers were great. And I'm glad they like picked a topic that they were kind of focusing on and talking around that topic, whether it's their product or service. The content, the lecture slides were great too, obviously because you can always go back and review them. So what I had to do a lot of the times is in the evening I always had like a class, a workout class or something that I was already in part of. So I would come to the lectures a little bit late, but I would kind of be able to catch what was going on in the lecture and then go back and pull the slides, and I would listen to the video lecture at like 2x speed
Mhm. Mhm.
and look at the slides and kind of like look for key points from the lecture that I heard and go to the slides and look at those key points and kind of assume that way. And then I would try to practice it. Like I would think when I saw the slides in the lecture, how could I use this in like an idea that I had?
Mhm.
If it was something that I wanted to utilize, I would just try it that day, the next day, to kind of
Mhm.
make sure it stuck with me. That's kind of how I did. So I would listen to the video, look at the lecture notes, and then think about how I could apply stuff I wanted to build.
That's awesome.
Yes, yeah. It got a little bit it got tough because of just life, but at the same time it started to get exciting because we were still learning new things as the capstone was approaching, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you learn something new, and now you want to add it to your capstone, which was a little bit tough. But yeah, it was fun.
What do you think maybe something was surprising that you didn't expect would be valuable, but it turned out to be like valuable for you?
I honestly was kind of surprised. I thought that going into this, I would
Mhm.
be focusing on learning Python.
Interesting. Okay.
And I don't know Python very well at all, right? But I was like, okay, this could be an opportunity for me to learn Python. And I remember the first week I chose Python as like where I wanted to go, right?
Yeah.
Then I guess I just started hearing Hire talk about not using Python often in a way. But he also talked about like some of the benefits, like mainly like your front end can talk to your back end very easily, right?
Mhm.
Um, like, okay, let me kind of explore with this. But then when I started exploring that Next.js with um, Claude Code, it like made so much sense
Mhm.
that it reduced fear from me trying it.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, there's no need at all, right? And it just makes deployment and development so much faster. So I think that was kind of surprising to me
Mm.
because you always with AI and ML, you always use Python. I'm not saying you shouldn't use it, right? But it was just surprising how fast and how much development you can get done without using it. That was surprising.
Interesting. And you had no prior experience with TypeScript or JavaScript or
Zero,
Next.js?
zero. I had a little bit with JavaScript, like barely any. I would say it's zero because it was like not enough to even quantify. But
Mhm.
Next.js and TypeScript, zero.
Wow. That's always the best part of the bootcamp.
Zero, zero, zero. So that's a kind of surprising to have zero in something, zero experience in something, and then now developing multiple apps with that in like a matter of 5 to 6 weeks.
That is so cool.
I definitely feel like it was development of like full stack, right? With AI assisted coding tools. I mean, that's exactly what it was. I mean, that's what I feel like all I do now. I do back end and I do front end, right?
Mm,
And I feel extremely comfortable with
wow.
doing both.
Wow.
So
Let me ask you this. I was just gonna ask, like, if there are like vibe coding tools, I mean, there are all of these like Lovable, Bolt, V0, everything. If you didn't join the bootcamp, do you think you would been able to like build things that you are building now at the same speed, at the same level of understanding? Like, how would that be different for you, or how did this bootcamp change?
if I didn't have the boot camp, I could build stuff, but I could definitely not build as fast and as in depth and with the same level of understanding. There's no way. Like
Mhm,
this is not possible. Yeah, I mean, because there's tools like I haven't used Level, but I've looked into it. But at the same time, I feel like there's a gap of like understanding because you can have the tools to build a site or an agent, right? But then there's all the other tools that you want to know about, like all the MCP servers we talked about,
mhm,
right? Like all of those, like knowing about those
mhm,
is the gap that I would have had, and I would have had to like learn and research all those instead. It was like kind of jam packed,
mhm,
and then being inside the bootcamp made me feel comfortable to use those tools. Um, so yeah, I could have done it, but I think it would have probably taken me 5 to 10x the time to do it.
mhm.
Where here, I'm telling you, every week I feel comfortable. If I have an idea on Friday, on Saturday and Sunday, I can build it. And on Monday, I have the MVP ready.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. That's like a superpower. Like you can build anything.
It really does. It really does feel like that. So that's like really exciting for me. Just to feel like I feel very confident there.
Mm. Well, I appreciate your feedback. This is so exciting to hear because if you think about it, just the full stack engineers that even like last year, it would have been possible. People who would have wanted to transition to full stack engineering would probably taken them like a year at least. And now people are building things end to end thanks to the tool, thanks to all the information that we packed it together. People are just building things in a weeks. So it's
Exactly.
exciting.
It's exciting. It really is.
Yeah, and, what are your plans, after this? What is your plan, like, on incorporating these, like, skills, and then what are you gonna do with them in your near future?
Oh, great question. Right now, I have 3 different applications that I'm working on, all
Mm,
AI agent powered. So there's like an AI agent, there's agentic functions inside of those applications. And I'm currently like working on the proof of concept of all 3 of them. 2 are like, I would say, industry business related. One is more like personal hobby related. And
mhm.
so the idea now is to try to vet out the MVPs, add additional functionality,
Mhm.
to be able to launch them for use. And the hobby one, launch it for me and my friends. I have a network of DJs that I plan on passing it to have them
Oh,
test it. And then the other 2, trying to launch them as a business.
that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's ex
Like I said, I have a lot of ideas. It's I feel empowered,
mm,
right? That I can just turn my instead of going to try to find funding to like
mhm.
find funding to develop something and find engineers, I can just develop it. What would have taken what did it say? What it would have taken I think 3 months and $400,000 of development work took you 1 day and $40. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was pretty impressive, right? So,
For us, like, if you succeed, we succeed, right? So it's important to still stay connected and inform us with your progress.
yeah, 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 definitely. I would love to share, and I need to about
Yeah.
fishing at main next week.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your feedback, Eric. And Hai's gonna love it when he will watch this. We're probably probably gonna share it on our YouTube page as well. But let's keep in touch and let me know if there's anything else you want to share before we wrap it up.
No, I just definitely appreciate it and glad I found you on LinkedIn and found your post about the boot camp.
Mm.
Also happy that the boot camp was focused on Agentic this time and using the tools to do it. Like I said, I'm very surprised at how much I've learned and how much I can do now. Like it's really shocking to me. So appreciate both you and Hi and the rest of the TA team as well. And then hopefully I can be involved in the future because it's just is so exciting. So if I can help out any way, let me know.
Sounds good. We'll keep you in mind. And the first thing you can do is just engaging with the community once we have it set. But thank you for your kind words, Eric. And great job. You did a great job, Eric. I hope you're next for you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, Mary. Tell Hi I said hello. And we'll definitely be in touch, okay?
We'll do. Sounds good. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye.